Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my math class. Today, we will continue our discussion on the differences between rational and irrational numbers. So if you remember from a few days ago, I explained that a rational number is any number that can be written as an integer divided by another integer. So for example, -2, here's -2 divided by 3. 4 divided by 9. Does everybody stick with me now? Looks like I see some people not paying attention. Make sure your camera is on. And -27 divided by 6. All of these numbers are one integer divided by another integer. So that's one integer, even though it's negative, it's an integer, and it's divided by another integer. They're still integers. Pay attention. So therefore, they are all rational numbers. And in addition to numbers that look like this, all of the integers such as these integers are what we call rational. Now, integer 2 right here can be written as 2 over 1. Everybody see that? 2 can be written as 2 over 1. Integer 3 could be written as 3. If I were to put 3 here, integer 3 can be written as 3 over 1. Okay? Still a rational number. So you can divide any integer by the number 1. And you can write it as a ratio of 2 integers. So because of this property, all of the integers are also rational numbers. So all of these are considered rational. Rational. Now what's an irrational number? What is an irrational number? Irrational numbers is all the numbers in the real number system that cannot be written as a ratio of 2 integers. So those types of numbers are numbers such as the square root of 2, the square root of 5, and the square root of 7. Square root of 2, square root of 5, square root of 7. Irrational. Yes.
Didn't you say these were considered imperfect squares?
Yes, we talked about that on yesterday. We said they're imperfect squares because you cannot take that number and find any other number that will multiply by itself. There are no two numbers, the same numbers, that you can multiply and it will give you 5. So they are called imperfect squares. And what did we say about pi? Why is it irrational?
Because it's infinite?
Because it's infinite. That number is going to repeat itself, 3.14. And it may not really repeat, but what happens?
It goes on and on and on.
It goes, that's what infinite means. It goes on and on and on.
But it doesn't repeat.
But it doesn't repeat. It's just the same, it's just, that pattern just goes on and on and on. Okay, good job. Those types of numbers are numbers again, such as the square root of 2, the square root of 5, and the square root of 7. And just like we said, the number pi is an irrational number, so none of these numbers can be written as a ratio of 2 integers, therefore they are irrational. So what about something like the square root of 4? Okay? What about something like the square root of 4? What do you think about that? It kind of looks like the numbers I've written here, but the difference, look at this one.
The square root of 4 is a perfect square?
It's a perfect square. When you compare it here, the square root of 4 is a perfect square. Well, why? So therefore, it can't be over here. Because what two numbers, the same number, I can multiply together and it will give me 4. What is it?
2.
2. Okay. Plus, you can take 2 and it can be expressed as 2 over 1, which is a fraction. So therefore, I have to leave that on the rational side. Again, 2 can be written as a ratio of 2 integers. The square root of 4 is actually a rational number, so that's the difference, you guys, between rational and irrational numbers. Also, 1 can be written as a ratio of 2 integers, and the others cannot. If you take all of the rational numbers and add them to all of the irrational numbers, then you get what we call the real number system. And I wrote this right here, is IR.
Miss Eve?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be an R but with 2 lines next to it?
Yes.
I think your splinter's caught in the
It
middle.
is. It's stuck in the middle, but it's okay. Those of you don't get sidetracked by this. This is irrational. The line just divided it. Thank you, young man. So just don't be confused by that. But that's when we get into what we call the real number system. It is often denounced by the symbol like an R, with an extra line on the left hand side. So let me just go ahead. That's that extra line that I was telling you about. Don't worry about that. Young man, thank you, but that's just the way I had it set up. So let me just go ahead and write that again. I'm going to go back over that again so you can see that those are called real numbers. And you might see this on some of the assignments that I give you when you take a quiz. If they ask you, are they considered real numbers? Now, you're going to be taking the real number system, and you use that to figure out the rational and irrational. So really, all of the rational numbers plus all of the irrational numbers is one big group. So anyway, this video just explained the differences between rational and irrational numbers. I hope that makes it a little bit easier for you to understand. We'll talk some more in a minute. Talk to you later. Bye.